Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and fair warning, I'm not super happy with how the writing of this review turned out, but then again, usually when I say that sort of thing, the video ends up being okay anyway, so clearly I'm just beating myself up over nothing, but yeah, that doesn't really bode well for Malta now, does it? But yes, it's Malta's turn to come under scrutiny by me, and I'm probably worrying over nothing. So, this year, plucky, tiny little, cute little Malta, a jewel of the Mediterranean, or one among many, it will be represented by Ms. Emma Louise Marie Muscat, and a song called I Am What I Am, and not I Am Who I Am, which is how I miswrote it in my notes a couple of times before I checked and realised, oh, actually it's I Am What I Am. So the song is in English, music by Dino Medanhojic, Julie Orgord, Stina Kink, and Emma Muscat. Yes, indeed, the song was largely outsourced, but she did have a hand in coming back and retooling it a bit to better suit her needs, which is something that I will come back to later on in this review. In the meantime, though, well, I'm not going to mince words. This song's reputation precedes it for a number of reasons, and none of those reasons are happy ones. Having finally heard it for myself, yeah, I'm disappointed in you, Malta, honestly. No offense to Emma herself, because, you know, she's a lovely lady and she has a great voice, but to the broadcaster I ask this. For all the controversy you've attracted in sending this song to Eurovision, was it worth it? I'll get into the nitty-gritty of that in a moment, but just on a surface level, I think the main thing that I don't like about this year's contest on the whole is that there are so many songs that just sound on paper like other entries in a scripted comedy episode that involves a music competition. You know, we have the crazy song, we have the heavy-handed environmentalist song, the rock as written by someone not in tune with what actual rock fans want to hear kind of song, the girl boss breakup song, etc. And now we've got the positive affirmations, I am all that I am kind of song. Nothing feels real anymore. In a year that's following a formula to a T, this might just be the worst offender of all. Despite my negativity though, which I do feel bad about, like I said, I'm not super happy with how this review turned out, but we'll see what happens, there are still things worthy of praise in here. For one, the message itself, if you take it at face value, you don't assume anything, you just take the message as it is, it's positive and it's uplifting. Some people do find themselves in need of this kind of fun, happy, sort of emotional rallying cry to stay true to themselves, even in the face of hardships. On a surface level, it's encouraging and it's happy, and some people may find strength in that, and if you do, you're not wrong for doing so. Also, something that I personally like, even if it is kind of a cold comfort for reasons I'll elaborate on later, as I said, when Emma received the song, she actually took time out to change the arrangement of it to better reflect her as a performer. She's a trained pianist, for example, so the music was adjusted to showcase her and the piano. You know, the composition on the whole was broken down and rebuilt with her voice in mind. If you have to sing a song from someone else's discard pile, this is the way to go about handling it. Make it your own. And, well, let's not miss the obvious here, Emma was chosen to represent her country for a reason. As a performer, she is undeniably talented. For example, she ticks all the right boxes to make her role in the song work to the greatest possible effect. That is, she sings in tune throughout, she sings convincingly, you know, she owns the words to the point that it seems completely natural, and it doesn't sound like she's being disingenuous in any way, nor does it look like she's being disingenuous in any way. Voice, face, posture, she's got it all worked out, and credit where it's due, I think it works. This is totally present when she performs live as well. This wasn't all just makeup for the camera, this was, you know, this is just how she performs. Granted, I can only really judge her based on the national final, and spoilers, this wasn't her national final song, so I can only really comment on aspects that are transferable, but it's clear that she has transferable performing skills. She can uphold that quality of performance even under duress of singing live, And she has fantastic command of the stage. Some people drown in all the space that the stage gives them, or allow their vocals to suffer, or for their character to falter in the performance, all to the detriment of the song, but none of that is an issue with Emma. Say what you might about the song, but at least we know it's going to be delivered with legitimate professionalism. Now, on the other hand, my main complaint with this song, aside from the way it was chosen in the first place, is how nothing it is. It's so wrapped up, or so it seems, in trying to be inoffensive that it circles back around to being offensive again by way of being almost patronisingly absent of identity. I know that songs that lean too far into being esoteric or artsy run the risk of losing the audience, but in my opinion this plays it far too safe in comparison, so all we're left with is a generic, forgettable, disposable, dry-bred non-event. As a trapping of it being so deeply buried in its bubble of saccharine nicey-niciness, it feels extremely detached from the real world of music. To put it in a slightly more well-thought-out way, who is this song meant to be for? It sounds far too artificial to appeal to the world of music critics like myself, and it has so little impact and individual identity or lyrical originality, anything like that, that it kinda wouldn't last a day on mainstream radio. And it doesn't really tell enough of a story for musical theatre, so it gives the impression that the song was written to just be also there. It doesn't have competition in mind, it doesn't have appeal in mind, it's not trying to win or even stand out, it's just filler. Also, on a side note, I'm personally not even remotely interested in this bit of discourse, but some people have taken issue with the song's music video and the ideas it portrays. Personally, I feel as though the entire argument is built from a place of bad faith, and I am so tired of bad faith being the basis of everything these days. But the general gist is, some people think that it's insulting that the video shows various marginalised groups represented by flanderised individuals who embody the stereotypes of said groups, be they gender, sexuality, body image, ethnicity, etc., who are then helped by Emma and her song. People object to this because of her privileged background and or because of the trope of the, quote, white saviour complex. And I highly doubt that was the team's intention, but the reality is, that is how some people have interpreted the video, and that has informed their perception of the song accordingly. Some people may feel that that's an overreaction, some people like me just don't even want to touch that hornet's nest, and some people are actively offended. It's something that you may not like here, and even if I don't agree, I'm still going to acknowledge that for some people that is the reality of it. Anyway, to put my thoughts into numbers, I don't want to downplay the effort that has gone into this song, because effort has gone into it. Like I said, Emma helped to rewrite it to suit her. But my personal score here is a 4. My younger self might look at that and think, hang about, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? And yeah, my professional trash mammal younger self has a point. Musically, it's a passably pleasant boplet, and it does seem to have the best of intentions. You could stick it on the Disney Channel in one of their sitcoms and it wouldn't sound out of place. But at this point, I don't know about you lovely people, but I am so unbelievably bored of generic. Yeah, I know, if you challenge the audience too much, then you're going to struggle to sell the song, and if every song was as artsy as, for example, Serbia, then the whole show would be rather overwhelming, so variety is good on a macro level, but ye gods, it's good on a micro level too! As it stands, to my ears, this is just an extremely heavily diluted rehash of the musical vibes that Sweden gave us in 2020, with a generic just be yourself lyrical body sprinkled on top. If you want to hear this song but done better, listen to the Mamas, I'm afraid. But I feel like I'm giving way too much emotion here, and I do feel like I'm being unnecessarily cruel. Not my intention. So, technical gems, maybe you can bring me back down to Earth, because I'm up in space. Not your turn, Sam. Lyrics. 1 out of 2. Much as I want to give credit to the fact that the song does have a couple of great ideas mixed in and among, that would kind of be like praising a cheeseburger because of the sesame seeds on top. It's one small part that's completely overpowered by the overall whole. Similarly, music-wise, 1 out of 2, it has a solid enough beat, and it has a stompy, clappy breakdown to try and keep the audience's attention, but it really does kind of come across like jangling keys in the audience's face to try and get their attention via the least effort possible. Even knowing that Emma had a hand in redoing the song a bit from the version that she was initially given, it still comes across as a bit patronising. Delivery, though, I will say 2 out of 2. I can at least be positive about Emma as a performer. She's good, she's brilliant, she can sing well enough, she can own the stage. In not so many words, she is far and away the best part of this song. But I don't want to saute myself in the source of negativity. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Staging potential, I can't give it anything. To cut to the heart of the matter, the lyrics are generic, the music is generic, the idea is generic. I don't foresee them pulling something crazily memorable and original out of the bag to bring this to life on stage in Turin. It's going to be nothing we haven't seen before, and nothing we haven't seen done better before at that. To reiterate, I don't see it being anything other than just filler. Appeal? I'm gonna say 1, because, true, the song is accessible to pretty much any audience. People who aren't as far down the rabbit hole as you or me. I say you because I mean you are about, 10 minutes into watching someone talk about the song at length on YouTube, so chances are you're fairly down the Eurovision rabbit hole. Like, to normal people, in quotes, it might be a bit more appealing because it's, it's nothing too wacky, but for you and me, I feel it gets to that point by gouging out so much of its potential identity that what we're left with is something so bland and unremarkable that it struggles to retain attention. And that's on top of how the song was chosen in the first place. So, a good delivery score brings the technical rating up to a measly 5 out of 10 for a combined total of 9 out of 20 altogether. Middle-of-the-road technical score, making a middle-of-the-road total for a middle-of-the-road song, what a surprise. And very telling that more than a quarter of that score is just off the back of Emma being a good performer. I feel like I'm being too harsh, but at the same time... So, the bigger picture. Suffice it to say, I am far from impressed with Malta's broadcasters' behaviour this year. It may surprise you to discover that Malta had a national final this year, in response to complaints from Maltese songwriters that their selection procedure since 2019 excluded them in favour of importing international writers. If that was where it had started and ended, this would be a green arrow and a good job taking feedback on board from me. But this wasn't the song that Emma won the national final with. True, it is enshrined in the rules of the Maltese selection that the winner doesn't have to use their national final song at Eurovision. This isn't anything unprecedented, but the whole point of the show was to rekindle the broadcaster's relationship with domestic songwriters. How do you think they're going to feel now, seeing the show essentially thrown away the moment that it ended, scrapping the winning song in favour of buying a foreign singer's table scraps? To me, that rather reads like the broadcaster is saying, other people's trash is literally worth more than supporting local talents best in any meaningful way. Yikes! So, is Malta gonna make the final this year? I'm hoping that my low opinion of the song and how it was chosen doesn't colour my thoughts here, but Malta is up in the first half of the second semi-final, so if we're looking at countries that might be receptive to giving the song a chance, and you should, then they've got the UK and maybe Cyprus and San Marino at a push, but cultural proximity alone isn't enough to cut it. Realistically, semi-final 2 this year is full of songs with big presences and unique selling points. I don't really see this song even being remembered by the end of the show. Sure, there is a chance that it will serve as a nice palate cleanser amongst crazier offerings, but realistically, this is a cup of sparkling water at a cocktail party. Emma does deserve to receive recognition from the juries for her voice and stage presence. It getting no points would be a crime. And I fully expect that some viewers who, as I said, aren't as far down the Eurovision rabbit hole may well call Malta's number because of how accessible the song can be for quote-unquote normal people, but for the average viewer, bearing in mind who tends to watch Eurovision, there isn't a lot here for me to be optimistic about. But that is just me slapping myself because I want to punish myself for how terrible this review has been. So I'll throw it over to you lovely people. iCard, video description, listen to the song for yourself, have your own thoughts. If you disagree with me, if you want to defend the song, that is great. Every song deserves a fair defense. It just so happens that I don't feel like I've adequately provided that. But that doesn't mean to say you can't agree with me or have no strong opinion. It's all good. Anyway, Emma, I do apologise for what I've said here, but I am less than impressed with the broadcaster's behaviour. But I do sincerely wish you the very best of luck in Turin, because you're a great performer. And, you know, maybe your fantastic voice and stage presence will turn this whole song around in your favour. If so, then credit where credit is due. We'll see what happens in May.